Right. Doot doot. Hello, Bigfoot. She said,
Don't call Tricker Bigfoot because she comes after your pockets. Right. Hi guys, I hope you're all okay and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new vlog. This is a vlog that was requested in the reasoning of why I tack up my girls the way I do and why I started using different pieces of tack, and obviously why I tack up Dixie before I've even ridden Tricker. Now I always ride Tricker first, then I ride Dixie afterwards, and to save time and to save things that we're doing with Dixie. Now Dixie was done by Joe a few weeks ago, and whilst Joe was doing her, we figured out why Dixie doesn't like being ridden straight away. Dixie is cold backed, and if you don't know what that means, it basically means that she does need to be warmed up completely before I even think about sitting on her or doing any sort of mountain block work. But we're going to tack up Tricks first, and I'm going to talk you through how I tack her up and how and why I do it this particular way. Now, Trix is obviously 26 years old. She is a thoroughbred. She has been my main riding horse for the last few years. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up her door and I'm going to put her chain across. I put Tricker's chain on. I always do this, especially if she's in. She doesn't have it up all day long because her stable door is closed if I'm not there. But going into my tack room, which luckily enough is right next to Tricker's door. This is her VIP gel pad. I've had this for about 4 years now and it has been an absolute lifesaver. It is distributing weight and it does help. Tricker absolutely loves it. I've never found a half pad that Tricker likes. When I found this VIP gel pad, it changed mine and Tricker's riding journey for the whole way. Trix has a chain. She does try to put her head underneath it sometimes, but she is ever so good. She never actually comes out. So unlike my other two big ones who absolutely love it. So I am using the V Polo glitter mesh numner. Now with her, I have a very specific way of tacking her up because it's the way she likes. Now I'm used to her pulling faces, guys. She's done it the whole time. I've actually owned her for tacking up, so her faces don't bother me. She doesn't bite, she doesn't do anything like that. She just pulls faces. She is very much a mare for tacking up in some sense, but she is not nasty at all. Now my 5-point breastplate I always put on Trix. I don't always use the running martingale attachment because I don't need it for her, but we always put the 5-point breastplate on just for her. If she does decide to throw a buck or a rear, I feel a little bit more safe. I can actually grab onto something. Now my pad always goes on first, and for this main reason, because my gel pad then sits on top and it goes underneath my saddle. Now my saddle, actually no, my girth, sorry, Tricker has a very fluffy girth. She is sensitive, but that's her. She is just a sensitive mare around her belly. She's never had ulcers or anything like that. She has just always been sensitive with girths, and I found this girth. This is my GP. It's from the Saddle Company saddle. I've owned this saddle for the last 12 years. No, 11 years. 11 years I've owned this saddle. It has changed with Trix. It has grown with Trix. It has been the best saddle for Tricker. We used to have, obviously, I want to say falcon. I think it was a falcon. I'm used to her putting these sort of faces. She doesn't do anything. She just throws tantrums. So I always make sure my saddle pad and my gel number are right up into my gullet area of my saddle. Then I attach the girth straps to the first, the numbness straps to the first girth strap. Sorry. I'm trying to remember exactly my order whilst I'm not doing it. Then I attach the 2 breastplate straps to my D-rings. With this, it also secures my saddle in one place. You see me say don't there, only because I knew what she may have done. She doesn't, as I said, she doesn't bite you at all, but she will nudge you with her nose if she is like having enough. But that's just Trix. It's just her way, and she's always been like it. She always puts her ears back. So then my girth goes onto my first and third girth straps, and it obviously sits above the girth loop on my numner. This is how I've always tacked up tricks. I've always tacked up most of my horses doing it this way. However, when I do tricker, it makes life a little bit easier to just have it done this way. So as you can see, it is attached higher up first off, then I attach the second one. Now with tricks, I always rub underneath her belly so she knows what's coming with the girth strap to the martingale, and then obviously on to the girth itself. I do obviously keep an eye on her whilst I'm doing this, just to be on the safer side, because I don't want her to flick or turn or just be a bit silly with herself, because she can be sometimes. She is a mare. She is a very good mare, but again, she's been my main riding horse for a lot of years. She's also a very smart and clever horse. She loves to ride. She loves dressage. You take her out of work, she goes downhill real quickly. She has got very much a grass belly on her at the moment. So I obviously do my girth up very gently with her. We're going to go in now. Obviously you will hear me talk a little bit because it kicked in and then it just went off again.
So let's go in. So these are all attached up here. So they
go onto the D-rings. Sorry guys, I went dead quiet to try and see if my microphone would pick it up. But then my girth strap, this is obviously the 5-point martingale second strap. It obviously hooks onto there, goes through on top of my numner loop, and then obviously I can loosen it or tighten it if I need to. I tend to leave it alone really to how I have it set, and I missed off like the little strap because that was meant to tuck through in. Because I cleaned my tack, obviously I didn't do it. But yeah, so I do use non-stretch stirrup levers. I do obviously have my Tack stirrups. As you can see, this is how I like my girth. So it is not my girth, my numner. It is up high into the gullet, and obviously the back end goes up into the gullet as well. I always have my saddles like this, mainly because I don't want any rubbing, any friction or anything like that. Right, so that's her with her saddle and everything on. Now imagine that I've tacked up Dixie already. I'm going to come put the last finishing touches on Tricker, because that's what normally would happen. I would let her have a few minutes with just her saddle on whilst I tack up my other one. Now Tricker has had this bridle for a very long time as well. She does have a pelham with a lozenge in. Now it does obviously have a curb chain. Now Trix is really good. She actually helps you put her bridle on, and obviously she will duck her head down so I can get her ears in, and obviously make sure that my headpiece of my bridle is fitting in the correct way as well, so there's no pinching or anything like that. Her main bridle path can be cleared completely. Obviously I don't trim her mane because I'm trying to get her mane to grow. So I always do her throat lash up first. I always leave it a little bit extra loose as well instead, so I have a bit extra more than your 5 fingers that would fit in there normally. I've always done this for her because she really hates it when it's, even if it's dead on 5 fingers, she absolutely hates it. So with the curb chain, I make sure it is nice and flat against her chin, and I only put it onto the second loop that is there. It's not on tight at all, but it is there if I need it for action if I have no brakes. Now it's only happened twice when we've been out on hacking and doing canter work. I've had actually no brakes and I've had to use my pelham rein. Now I don't have a noseband with Trix, and one of the reasons for that is because she absolutely hates it. She will head shake like mad with the noseband on. I always ride off of my curb chain, snaffle chain, snaffle rein than I do with my curb chain. I only use my curb chain in emergencies. Curb rein, sorry, not chain, I keep saying chain now. Curb rein. She will shake, she always does. But that's how I ride with Trix. Now imagine that she's all been worked and I've ridden her and all of this. Obviously we weren't riding today, but the first thing I do is take off the curb chain, then I undo her throat lash, I pull her reins off over her head, I lift up the bridle and allow her to take the bit out herself so it doesn't bang or drop into her mouth. So now her bridle's done, it's off, it's fine. I first off, when after riding anyway, I take off the first 2 clips off of the off of the 5-point breastplate. I always loosen my girth after riding as well. Obviously, I loosen it off so she can have a nice big breathing room. Even when we're cooling down, I do loosen the girth off for her just so she can breathe and everything like that. When we come back up to the stables, obviously, silly mare being silly, I take off the breastplate first. Always do that. I don't know why, because it's the first thing I put on, so it should be the last thing I take off, but I always take it off after I've undone everything. Then I take off her saddle. Look, she's being a bit funny. She's always like it with her saddle. I don't know why. Always been like it. Ever since I've owned her, she's been like this. But it's fine. Then I'll go and put all of my tack away. I do actually have a cover for my saddle. Now, my saddle cost an incredible amount of money that I don't really fancy repeating again. So, I have this saddle cover. I always put the saddle cover on after riding, no matter what. Even if I'm not riding again in that saddle or later in the evening if we go for a hack, I always put it back on, because if the saddle gets damaged or it gets scratched in any way, I am in an awful lot of trouble because of how much this saddle cost. Now, obviously, it is a saddle company saddle, but for me, what I paid for it at the time was a lot of money. I also have the saddle cover, so if it's been peeing down with rain and my girth's wet or things like that, I don't tend to do this, but when it's been dry and we've been ridden, my girth goes through the loops, so it sits on top, and I actually never lose my girth, which is a bonus, because if you know me, I lose things incredibly quickly. I forgot where I put the breastplate for a second then. So Trigger's hook, as you can see, is right there. So her breastplate goes on first, then her bridle goes on top, and then my saddle goes onto the first riding rack where one of our hats are. So that would be Tricker done, dusted for the day. Well, that's if I'm not riding in the evening. And obviously, with her, she will always, all my horses, after riding, will get a brush down. I've always done this. I don't always tend to do it every single time, but I am trying to get back into that habit and routine of brushing them down every single time. Now, this will obviously increase the blood flow, it will help cool them down, it will also help me see if there is any heat or swelling in her legs, in her joints, anything like that after riding, and it does actually help both me and Tricker as well. Even if I've got Dixie to ride next, I will still do this after I've ridden Dixie. But then obviously Tricker would be cooled down, so sometimes Dad will do it for me. If something is wrong, he will come down and get me saying there's heat after you've ridden here, come and have a look at it. I'll school Dixie, I'll do what I'm doing with Dixie, and then I will go straight back up, sort Dixie out, and then go straight to Tricks. Again, my main riding mare, she's been my main riding mare for 11 years. This horse is my heart horse, and she is very dear to me, and I cannot imagine being without her. Right, the next horse we're going to go on to is Dixie. So you'll basically kind of understand now what I'm going to do with Dixie. From the looks of it, my microphone did pick up a few things at the time. Tricks will always get a treat after riding no matter what. It's just a way of saying thank you to her and obviously giving her a nice reward afterwards. Right, on to Dixie Lou.
Dixie Lou. Many of you know her. Oh, you're so grumpy. She is literally the
grumpiest mare on the yard today. Anyway, she was. So with Dixie, I do actually tie Dixie up, otherwise you're not getting near her at all with your tack. This is just something Dixie has recently learned, actually, that if you come in with her tack and she puts her ass towards you at the back of the stable, she will not let you near her with her tack at all. So I do actually tie her up now. She did get her little kisses, which is what she was asking for as well, because when she puts her nose right onto your chest or the top of your chest, she wants her kisses. It's just the way I've taught Dixie to ask for kisses instead of trying to nip my nose off, which she's not actually done, but it's been a very close call on a fair few times. Throw her feed bucket down the yard. Alright, So we're going to go grab Dixie's tack really quickly. Now, I did actually forget which saddle was Dixie's. I have so many saddles, it's unbelievable, but a few of them are incredibly old. I think my oldest one in there is from my very first pony, which was, I'm going to say nearly 26 years ago now. God, that's scary. But that little saddle has stayed with me throughout all my horses, even though it's not fitted in any of them. It stayed with me as a little reminder of where I actually started, and that was, believe it or not, on a chestnut pony. Or a chestnut Shetland that I was on. Right, Dixie's tack is very, very simple now. I've kind of scaled back on Dixie on what we're using, and mainly trying to find things that are comfortable for her and obviously what she likes. Now, when Alicia was around, she did use Lemire pads. Now, I particularly don't like Lemire pads. One of the reasons for that is because I found that they used to rub Dixie incredibly, well, a lot. They used to rub her back incredible, and it was not helpful for her. So Dixie has now an Escadron Avant-Garde numbner. It's nice and thick, but it also doesn't have any girth numbner straps on it. So I've now got girth straps on my mind. So with her, with this numbner, we have found that she responds a lot better to it. She does obviously still have her breast girth on. Again, if she wants to throw a rear or anything like that, I have something I can grab onto. The Avant-Garde is actually memory foam, so it's really nice. But with the breast girth, I have it on. If she does do a rear, then one, it's going to hold the saddle in place a little bit nicer, and two, I've got a bit of a neck strap to hold on to. So that always goes on second. The numbner is always the first thing that goes on. It goes on the same as if I was doing my 5-point breastplate. It always goes on over the top of the girth strap. Numbner girth thing. I can't talk now, guys. I'm getting tired. But yeah, it always goes on first. Then she's used to me doing this by now. I put the girth over her neck so I don't forget it. Oh dear, poor Dixie puts up with an awful lot with me. I swear, she is one of the best horses, really, but she is one of the most trickiest horses. Now, Dixie has a Wintec synthetic saddle. This saddle, again, costs a fair bit of money, but it's worth it. It's one that we found that Dixie actually likes. She did used to have trickers, but now she obviously has this one. It's been fitted to her. You can go and find that vlog on my channel for saddle fitting with Karen from Leonard Coombs. You can go and find that vlog where we had the saddles all done for the girls, so they were quite happy. Now, the girth always goes on third, always has done, always do it. I do actually have a very old pair of stirrup levers on here as well, which I don't particularly like. I'm waiting to save up some money to buy some new ones. But again, with her saddle, I do make sure my numbnut goes right up into my gullet so it is not pressing down on the horse's back. I also do this when I get on as well to make sure it's not on the horse's back at all. So Dixie has had ulcers in the past, and the reason for that is obviously because one, she is a complete and utter stress head. Two, she has anxiety or separation anxiety. So again, she always gets her belly rubbed, and I do leave her girth on loose. Even when I'm riding tricker, her girth is not done up properly at all. I can still fit my hand right through, and as you'll see in a minute, Dixie really doesn't appreciate me doing that, but for demonstration purposes, I was trying to explain and show you how I like to leave her girth whilst I'm riding tricks. So when I obviously come back to ride her or work her in a sense, I obviously do put it up and I leave it loose until we're down to school. That's for her safety, it's for my safety, but it's also to make her feel a lot more comfortable. In this sense, I can still get my hand right through. Dixie, as you saw there, Dixie does not appreciate me doing that. I don't obviously do it on a daily basis. So, sorry guys, I'm getting a very sore throat. I do obviously give her nice stretches. We do obviously stretch when we're down to school before riding. I actually do that with both horses. I forgot to mention on Tricker's part, but I do stretch them, and obviously I do make sure they're quite happy. Right, moving on to Dixie jumped there because Dad was coming down with a wheelbarrow. Right, moving on to Dixie's bridle. We've changed Dixie's bridle. One, because Alicia took hers back. But two, this is the bridle that we have found that works with Dixie. Now, Dixie is in a loose ring, lozenge bit as well, a bit like Tricker's, but it's just a loose ring version of it, because that's what Dixie likes in her mouth. She has a very fleshy mouth. She has a big tongue with a fleshy mouth. She does have a crank noseband on this, which, again, I'm not too keen on nosebands. I never have been keen on nosebands, but for Dixie we will have one for the flash sort of aspect. So I put the reins over her head because I unclipped the lead rope first. I put the reins over her head, then I undo the lead rope and put the head collar around her neck. That way, if she does run or move away in that, I still actually do have some control over her. Again, I don't want to do this all the time, but for her safety and for my safety, this is the best way of doing it. Now with Dixie, she's not as nice as Trix. She won't lower her head down. She does take the bit, but she doesn't lower her head down. So you kind of have to go on tippy toes, which is what you'll see me do in a minute. But I obviously have to make sure that the bit guards are correct. They're not in her mouth, they're not rubbing anywhere, they have to be correct. And that's my head. I've always been taught that when a horse has bit guards, they must fit correctly around the horse's mouth, and that is one thing that I am very, very, very picky on. Same as my nosebands. When I use nosebands. So with her, obviously, so I'm just going to turn her around so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So I don't do the crank noseband up very tight at all. It's up so it's loose enough. Just ask her to move her big bum over because she's got a big booty. So I've done the noseband up. I can still fit 2 fingers under, everything like that. It's nice. So if I'm riding or I'm lunging her first, as I do now, I twist my reins, I put my throat lash through the reins and hook up, and it's very loose still. Same as Trix. Dixie does not like her throat lash tight. No, right, the flash bit. Now, I would like to remove the flash at some point, but with Dixie at the moment, it's just safer to have it on a little bit, just in case she does decide she's going to tank. Because she will tank on you. And I actually have no other brakes. And pray to God that she doesn't. So I try not to do the flash up at all tight. Dixie doesn't like it at all. She doesn't like having her mouth strapped down. She doesn't like having anything really underneath her chin bit, which is where your flash normally sits. So again, this is a little bit more desensitizing with her. Obviously, when we are a lot better riding away, we will take the flash away. Hopefully, that's the goal, take the flash away. So, Dixie obviously has this bridle. It is a Cavesson crank bridle. It's a very simple bridle. It's just very pretty. Now, that brow band that's on her, I've had for quite a while. Now, imagine that she's been ridden, worked, whatever you want to call it. She didn't like me at this point. She doesn't like being fussed over too much, so I had to be kind of quick. Now, after riding her, I will always undo her flash every time, alongside her girth. Now I got taught this trick from my local riding school that I learnt to ride at I was a kid, but I also seen a top eventer, Lucinda Green, do this as well. So you take the noseband, the flash bit off, and you do it up. Now I would have done it the way Lucinda Green does it, where she wraps it around, but obviously for demonstration purposes I've just done it this way. Undo her throat lash with her reins, and then I undo her crank noseband. That's the first thing that comes off with Dixie, is her bridle again. I do undo her saddle. Wait, Dixie. We're talking about Dixie here. Yeah. So undo her saddle. Sorry, wrong way around, wrong horse. I undo her saddle and take her saddle off first, making sure that her girth and her saddle are nowhere near her. That way she can feel a lot more comfortable within her back, and obviously I just do it quickly for her safety and for my sake as well. Give her a bit of a fuss. You've always got to give her a bit of a fuss. It's just the way Dixie is, even when you're undoing girths and things like that. So I'm just going to put you guys out the way for a second so I can put my tack down. Then her bridle and her breast girth all come off in one go. Again, I do lift it up for Dixie. I'm just going to throw up her head collar out because I don't need it anymore. I do lift the bridle up, the same with Trix, so she can drop it when she pleases, and it doesn't bang in her mouth, it doesn't do anything like that. So I've always done this. I don't know why, it's just drilled into my head. She always scratches all the time. She scratches if you've got her bridle on her. She will always do it.
Tricks.
Oh.
Although Dixie doesn't have a bar because she walks underneath it.
So I will always brush them down first. Again, same as Tricks. Always give them a brush. Now, Dixie does like to do her stretches after riding at her stable. Now, obviously, as you can see, she hasn't actually been ridden because she wasn't groomed before I did this, but obviously grooming her now. So giving her a brush off as well, obviously checking her over. And again, I can feel if there's any heat or see any swelling or anything like that with her. She does like to do her stretches for her treats, so that is what we do after riding every time. So she still gets her treat, but she has to stretch for it. It just helps loosen off her back. She is one of those horses that if she is stressed or she's been doing work and she's got a het up, you do have to stretch out her back again. She is another one that suffers from really, really tight hamstrings. She is the same as Tricks in that sense. She did try to bite my hand off because I didn't give it to her quick enough. But she will stretch. She absolutely loves her stretches. She is most probably one of the nicest horses you can get when you ask her for stretching. And it's one of the things I've taught Dixie as a youngster to stretch. It's what I'm trying to teach Apollo, but it doesn't always go to plan. So again, on this, leaving you with Dixie here now. If there's anything you'd like to see on the channel or anything you'd want to know about, please leave a comment below and I will see you all in the next vlogs. Coming up vlogs. I can't talk. I told you I'm getting tired. See you all very soon. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe and remember to hit that all important bell for brand new vlogs. Good evening guys, and I hope you have a good day.